Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Meeple has landed.
Yeah, no, faster than I probably should.
Evening, everyone, and welcome to Vitruvian Meeple's presentation of Issue 5 of The Powers That Be. This one's called Recruiters Wanted. Wanted for what? We're not quite sure yet, but we'll see what the next 2 hours bring us. I'm here with Patrick, Ecat, Magda, Julie, and Ray, here to play our game again. As usual, we have a whole lot to do and not a whole lot of time to do it, so I'm going to pass it off to our GM, Patrick. Patrick, please take us back into the world of Excelsior.
All right, so last week, as folks may remember, the party ran into Will at the coffee shop at the beginning. He was having a bad day. He has not been allowed to be a hero for various and sundry reasons, but fortunately, Paw of Justice was able to point him off to and get him in with getting some training with her fellow Atoms, and hopefully, up his game in combat or whatnot. Gene was feeling much better. His skin has started peeling on his face, and underneath he's finding, he looks much more like somebody in his early 30s than somebody in his 40s. So he's, feeling much better and kind of weird about the whole thing. And of course, Nevada noticed that not only are there a lot more crows in the neighborhood, there's they were being quite obnoxious, and following what was going on, they discovered that the local jewelry shop, Ray's, was being attacked by a pair of mimes. Combat ensued. The pair of mimes were ultimately defeated. And all of this, of course, was taking place under the umbrella of a massive attack from the Carnival Screams that was taking place primarily in Manhattan. But of course, whenever a large attack goes on, all of the weirdos come out because why not? Fun times had by all.
It was a mime-altering experience.
Yes. And an exhibition in mime and punishment.
There you go.
So several days have passed and you're back to your usual get-together at Sunbucks. So who tends to arrive at Sunbucks first?
I guess
this time, but I'll be sitting outside talking to the crows and what have you.
I tend to get there a little bit before our appointed meeting time, but I generally tend to scout the place a little bit, not necessarily going in, just kind of making sure that no unsavory types or no other unsavory types are around.
Ditch a go bag underneath one of the tables.
Oh yeah,
just in case.
Oh yeah.
I'm there a little earlier than.
Go ahead,
I'm there earlier than I had been before because I'm getting out and like walking around and sort of just testing this whole different this shift of perception and being a little bit revitalized. So I'm probably there about the same time that Crash and Nevada are already there.
So the first of you show up and you notice something is weird going on at Sunbucks. The usual crowd is not there. Now, Sunbucks is not, this one at that hour is not particularly crowded to begin with, which is why you decide to meet then, because you don't want too many people around to discuss stuff. But when you show up, there's none of the regular customers are there, and instead are a collection of about 5 or 6 people wearing suits, looking, trying their best to look very innocuous, sitting in various places, not talking to each other or looking at each other.
Doing the very much not looking at each other.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Crash is lurking in a corner, taking in the situation, and the little thought bubble of, this looks like my middle school dances.
Like every good academic, I am fashionably late because I got carried away grading.
And I got stuck finishing some restocking at the bodega, so I'm wandering in just a little bit late too.
It's not so much that you got stuck grading, Magda, it's that you finally got a chance to do some grading.
Oh, but remember, she has interns now
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
who are helping her
If
with some
only
of
they
that.
did things right.
I know, I was gonna say, but are they helping? Are they doing it right?
So the rest of you show up, and you take notice of the fact that there's instead of the usual folks from the neighborhood, and you have a very interesting and diverse neighborhood living up in Ditmar Steinway, just the northern end of Astoria. But these people, said it's like somebody spilled a loaf of Wonder Bread in the store, because it's just a whole bunch of ordinary people wearing very businessy type of suits. They're very similar to each other. The men and women, it's more or less the same cut of suit. It doesn't flatter anybody. It's not spectacularly well made, but they're all once again, totally not paying attention to each other. And they're very much not paying attention to you either as you come in.
Do they have earpieces?
Why, you could roll a perception check to see if they have earpieces.
Can I though? Can I?
That will be a target 3.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Man.
Hey, what the hell am I doing? If you were perception, where would you be?
Under skills, and if it's not under skills, then you're just rolling intellect.
Okay. Intellect. Where did I get a pop-up? Where's my pop-up? I did not get a pop-up. Oh, there it is. Okay. Difficulty 3.
Why, yes, each and every one of them has a single earbud chucked fairly far into the ear. Looks almost like a hearing aid, but it's not a hearing aid because it's not trying to conceal itself in that way, and it's a bit larger.
Hey.
Can I tell if any of them have the 2 gavels special insignia thing?
You cannot tell.
Okay.
Most of them are, their hands are down. They're not really drinking their drinks a whole lot. The drinks have to have been gotten cold by now. But
God, that's coffee abuse.
Damn, I
And
know
so
my
we
coffee's
all-
cold.
Hmm?
Now I realize that my coffee is cold.
Thanks, Nevada.
I was gonna say, waiting for her to say, join the club.
just finally walk in after having scattered a handful of peanuts to my friend, ignoring everybody in there, and go kind of clumping up to the barista to place my order, just totally ignoring everybody at this point because she's in a grumpy mood.
there's a sign next to the barista advertising their new black hole coffee. the Black Hole Brew, built for people who need to stay up late because they have secret identities to deal with and other fun things. Sunbox is doing its best trying to support the community.
I'll take.
So we're all inside, right?
Unless you want to go out onto the patio.
So
I'm willing. Go back out.
Does Tink, did Tink notice that everybody has earbuds and only? Was that communicated to all of us?
Well, I plan as I like walk in and I notice this and I like go in, I refill my thermos at the coffee carafe in the back, and wherever you guys are sitting, I'll like stomp over. I'm like, what the hell is up with these guys? All the suits and the earpieces.
I look at Tink and go, earpieces. Well,
Yeah.
heck, don't you have something that can pick up their signals?
I mean, like, if I care to, yeah.
I look around. Does this look like the regular clientele?
I haven't even put my purse down yet. So, are we outside or inside?
I think given
we're inside.
I was going to say, given the topic of conversation, it would probably be better for us if we were outside.
Well, there is that.
I grab my
we're all like, we're all waiting for our drink orders to be filled.
That's fair.
All right, so I like fill up my carafe, stomp out, or my thermos, stomp outside.
So as you stomp towards the door, when you're about to push the door, a shadow falls across it. And you look through the glass and you see a fairly large individual standing on the other side, about to push the door open. He is
I thought they have to pull
to look incognito, because he is wearing a pair of jeans and a hoodie. But you recognize him immediately, in spite of the fact that he is, trying to put on a clever ruse, because it's the statesman, the sole protector of New York City, the person in charge of the whole shebang for all the heroes there, and largely found flying around Manhattan beating the crap out of ne'er-do-wells. And so he's trying to push the door a little bit as you're trying to pull it.
Oh, good
I think
Lord,
saying that I noticed him is giving me too much credit.
True, fair enough.
Like, I probably just like go to open the door and like fly back because he's pushing it at the same time, and I'm like, ugh, and just like stomp out and like around him and just like perch on a table, and I like pull out my like a cell phone that I had already modded to work as like a walkie-talkie band receiver thingy, and I'm just trying to like figure out what frequency the P's are on.
So you scoot past Statesman. He's there. He steps inside. He just watches you walk outside, looks back inside, looks at a couple of the people in the suits, and they're like, so he walks towards the counter and orders himself a coffee with extra espresso in it and a little bit of cinnamon sprinkled on top.
My coffee, dumped it into the handy thermos that Tink has made me to help try and keep my coffee warm for more than 2 seconds.
I finally get my coffee. Big ass donut, bagel, cream cheese on the side because they don't put it on for you, and a cookie.
So I am doing the, leaning against the wall with one foot up on the wall thing with my arms crossed. So what do we owe the honor?
Well, good day, citizens. Okay. Hi, folks. How's it going? He flashes you that winning smile. Ding.
I really need to get you to a poker table.
Just remember, he probably will not tolerate any gambling. Remember, he will probably not tolerate any gambling because he is a complete goody two-shoes as far as anybody knows.
I look at him and go, I'm surprised they're not limiting you to decaf.
It's been a long time, Gene, since we've had a chat. I decided to stop by. I heard that some things are happening here, and I'm not surprised to see you in the center of it.
I look around. I'm just adjacent right now. I don't know what you're getting this whole center business, but
he picks
did
up
you
his
order
gigantic coffee. It's a size that like none of you knew you could order. Like, damn, is that like 40 ounces? It's like a big gulp cup with the Sunbuck stuff on it.
Does that look like a barrel with a handle?
Yes. Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
So I see your friends are starting to sit outside. Why don't we have a seat on the patio and have a chat?
I
Hey,
grab
he's
my
outside.
vanilla flat white and walk outside.
He sits in one of the he sits in one of the plastic chairs, which groans eerily as it takes on his weight because he is an extraordinarily strong man. Which you've noticed that, like, having personally met Ultra Soldier Alpha, you're trying to decide which one of them is bigger, and you think USA may actually be like a couple inches taller, but this guy is pretty bulky. Like, he's been working out a lot since last you saw him.
Did they go to the table where I was at, or did they go to somewhere else?
Oh, everybody's going to the table you're at.
Have I heard anything from the
Yes. So actually hang on, let's have you roll to see how successful we're at that. Let me see what skill that is.
rolling?
That would be
Get back here.
yeah, give me a using machines target 4. Because you have to break through their encryption.
Okay.
I think you do that automatically.
Yes, I think so too. 3 shifts.
3 shifts and I think training, yeah.
Yep. So you're picking up a whole lot of chatter. None of the people there are talking, but they're receiving a whole bunch of stuff about so like as you get there, is like, he has arrived, contact has been made, and like all this chatter and talking about what's going on around. Like 3 people walking down the street, do not look suspicious. Damn, there's a lot of crows in this neighborhood. Like it's totally blocking the drone. What the hell? Like as
From her. And I keep holding up a single peanut in the my buddy Knox is sitting there on the table happily.
In fact, you notice a couple of the crows over the park in an actual fight with a drone right now. The drone's not doing terribly well because it doesn't have any weapons on it. But they're just kind of ganging up on the thing.
You.
I start doing color commentary, like during soccer games on the crows versus the drones, kind of as an aside,
So Statesman sits down. just like he's one of the gang with you guys. Like, so, I hear you guys are kind of keeping an eye on the neighborhood over here.
Yeah,
Beat
we
up-
figure it's probably the least we could do.
I mean, usually areas like this are beneath your notice.
Oh, the whole city is not below my notice. I keep very close tabs on what's going on around. Granted, usually my talents are reserved for the larger targets and bigger dangers, but there's a lot of us here, and I like to make sure that everybody knows each other and plays along well and all of that. It's important, especially when bad things happen. Sometimes you have to call all the heroes in the city.
I didn't say below, big man. I said beneath.
Well, when I'm flying, just about everything is. Rather nice.
You said it.
I lean over to Crash and go, it's like it's a re-election year.
If only there was a way to vote him out.
No. Whose side would you rather have him on?
That's true. The devil you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. That was veritably prescient. Let me write that down for a second.
So, yes, we are the new heroes of Queens. Ta-da!
So what do you call
So
yourself?
are you here for give us
Business
advice, give us a warning?
Gets
Just a friendly visit.
heartburn.
I happen to really like this neighborhood. I mean, from over here, I can see Rikers. I have put many people into Rikers Island, especially the medical unit over there. And there's the water treatment plant. It's very important, but you don't want to be downwind of it. So, depends what times I come over here. But otherwise, it's a nice neighborhood. I mean, granted, some people say it's practically Long Island because it's on the island, but nonetheless, I don't listen to any of that, even if it's not Manhattan, but.
You got
So,
so
do
close
you
to
guys
being
have
human.
Do you guys have like a name for yourselves?
No, we haven't quite gotten to that point yet. We're still working on working out together.
True, fair enough. Yeah, I remember the early days of, actually, yeah, I worked with the Queensmen for a while too. That was a fun bunch of people, as of course you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And one, of course, was on the league, which is wonderful. I had an opportunity to be on the league, but I felt better for it because it's way too much paperwork and thinking. Not a fan. And besides, I like New York. It's a wonderful place.
Fan of thinking. Again, you said it.
Yeah.
So you guys been patrolling then, or you just wait for mimes to show up and see what happens?
I had a perfectly good plan that was thwarted by Circus Freak.
Yeah, when the big squeaky shoe fits.
So really, things have died down, and we're just coming back to get tabs on each other and see what to do next. You're entering literally on the ground floor of this operation.
Excellent. Something you don't get to see every day. Because, teams come, teams go, people's territory kind of flexes around all over the place. It's really interesting how it all operates, actually. I have some folks who, have this map going for the whole city. It's fascinating. Helps me keep track of what's what and who's where, and especially when things start going down. It's important to know, like, if somebody's attacking Times Square, we actually have like 5 groups who border on Times Square and one that's actually in Times Square and does nothing else. Which is handy because there's a lot of people there. Just so many cops. You will not believe how many police officers are in Midtown. It's amazing.
Yes, I would.
So is that map proprietary information?
Kind of, but not entirely. Like anybody in STEM can see it, because they're the ones who put it together.
Can I hack it?
You can certainly try, yes.
I mean, while I'm sure the answer to that is yes, it is still the case that we are upstanding members of STEM. Therefore, we should.
Oh, this was not out loud. This was like
Okay.
me asking the DM.
You can try to hack it. Hacking STEM is a target 7.
And would it be identifying machines, using machines, understanding
machines.
Sorry?
We'll do it as using machines.
So I assume her in shift would come into play.
3, yeah. So it's, drop it down to a target 3.
Jesus.
3?
So you have to roll a 9 or better.
What?
Come on, Tank.
What?
I rolled a 14. Oh wait, no, I didn't. I'm still missing more fucking screens. Okay, I
There we
rolled
go.
an 11.
Excellent. Still a success. So
This map?
yes, you download it onto your phone like, oh, this one? And you'll notice some interesting things, like it has real-time data on a lot of people.
Are we on it?
Indeed, several of you are.
I did not give consent to this.
Actually, I think it was somewhere in paragraph 7, subclause D.
Mm-hmm.
It's always subclause
Strangely
D that
enough,
gets you.
You're one of the people who's not, because you disabled the trackers on your phone. But you notice there's different icons, like the one for Nevada is really interesting because it's like this radiation type of thing coming off of her. So apparently they may be tracking her on something else.
What's that after this meeting? I whispered to Tank
You broke up. What did he whisper?
that we need to discuss this tracking thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He looks at it. Yes, exactly that one. It's very handy. They put it on my phone for me. You see, it's the icon right there.
We got you, big guy. We got you.
His phone, by the way, is practically a tablet because it's like, it's big enough to fit in his hand. It's huge.
The app is called Find My Heroes.
Oh, look, I see he has the new iPhone 20.
Yeah.
He'd likely be using something like a Sawyer phone because that guy owns just about everything these days.
True.
Although, of course, the tech for all the cool stuff that goes into phones these days is patents that are largely owned by STEM. Interestingly enough, it turns out that, they make a lot of money off of things like all the ultra-tech people inventing crap and then, having patents.
Almost like the military. What?
Indeed, yes. The military is one of their big competitors, strangely enough. The two of them do not necessarily get along. So, yeah, but I thought I'd stop by, meet you guys. And just remember, if you ever need help, just give me a call. And you should have that on your STEM thing on your phone. It's
yes. 1-800-ASSHOLE. Good to know.
You beat me to
No,
it.
no, no, no. No, 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 no. Look for it. It's further down. 1-800-TRY-HARD.
Well, just remember, keep up with the good work. You've said you've been doing fine so far. Those mimes were certainly dangerous.
Silent but deadly.
And weird. I think I love that. So, but keep up the good work. I said, like, if you need anything or some advice, I'm always good at giving people a hand because that's my job. So it was nice meeting you all. I have to get going. Conveniently placed taxi. Oh, look, right about now. The yellow taxi pulls up. And he's not doing a good job getting into the taxi, even though it's one of the big ones. He does not get into vehicles very often because he can fly, but he can't do it when he's trying to be a normal person, obviously. And he drives off, and precisely 2.5 minutes later, the people from inside start filing out one by one, trying to look innocuous and as though they're not all getting up and leaving at the same time.
Wow, subtle.
One of whom gets harried by a crow who's very interested in the shiny thing sticking in their ear.
Good boy.
I look at them about after the fifth one. It's like, oh, look, this isn't planned.
You'd think they would do like some kind of a what are they, flash mob dance? They're on their way to a flash mob dance.
How did we say we would leave the coffee shop? One at a time.
One at a time.
How did we leave the coffee shop? All together.
All at once. So
Sure.
I look at a
Go ahead.
after about the 8th or 9th one leaves, I look over to Tink and I lean over and it's like, hey Tink, are they showing up on the map?
Are they?
Interestingly enough, no, the STEM agents are not showing up on the map.
Can I play around to see if there's like a different layer that shows where and that shows the agents instead of the superheroes?
Interestingly, no. All you see two interesting things. You see one that is heroes, and then you see another one of a whole bunch of people who are just coded. It doesn't have their names or anything, but it's just some number around, and there's a bunch of them around the city.
And did 20 of them just leave the coffee shop?
No, they are not. None of them are near you at all.
Okay.
How close is the nearest one?
There's a couple of them, interestingly enough, as you scroll around, in the Atom family compound.
What's the next closest?
Oh, you don't want to go over there. There's there's a few kind of poking around Manhattan. There's a bunch in Brooklyn. Brooklyn seems to be kind of popular with these folks.
So nothing that I could go run and do a quick surveillance.
Not a quick surveillance, but on the other hand, y'all do have a phone with this on it, so
True.
and you might be able to load it onto another phone.
So, are we carpooling? How's this going to work?
I think I've seen this movie. I don't know if I want to go follow these Agent Smiths around here.
Well, just
Just
send
saying.
some of your crew. This is when we need your buddies to go on recon for
Yep.
us.
All right. So, Patrick, do I need to do something to talk?
Betsy.
Like, crow?
What are you trying to help her communicate?
Nice.
Well, you can try to talk a couple of them into it. The tricky part is that none of them have a phone.
This is true. Hey, Tink,
Yes.
and FaceTime.
That's what she needs to do. Oh my gosh, when she has time, Tink, you need to come up with all of these little bitty transistor radio thingies, and then you can give them all to the birds and they'll be their comms. CAWM, comms.
Nice.
Anyway, in your fact that I can give one of my buds to, like,
Yep, you're breaking up again.
on. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
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 Okay. Do you have an extra phone or something I can use it video surveillance that we can FaceTime?
Do I have another phone that I can use for surveillance on with FaceTime?
Given a
Hmm.
day or two, you could probably rig up some sort of thing that you could communicate with the crow with.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, there's
Require some
definitely a lot
soldering.
of like little like drone cameras, kind of like GoPro kind of things that are like animal collar sized nowadays. So,
Yeah, you could totally rig a like a GoPro onto the back of a crow, as long as it was willing.
well, but I mean, like, they make some that are like that are cat collars now.
Yes.
So, I think that would be more of a crow size. But yeah,
Okay.
let's hit up the nice, nice. But yeah, we'll hit up the Radio Shack later and see what's available.
All right. Well, so anyway, Jean, we can see what they're saying or see what they're seeing.
Okay. Because it does seem like a little bit of snooping is in order here.
Then let the thief go snooping. Can I have the app on my phone? App, please.
Well, I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Say, if you will give me the app onto my phone, the thief will go snooping.
Yeah, didn't you already have it from when they didn't put it on yours? Okay.
No, I didn't
Alright.
hack into stuff.
Because
That
we
was
all
yours.
toss our phones at Tink and go here.
Well, yeah, no, but going back to them having installed it on people's phones, did they install it on any of ours phones?
No.
Okay.
No,
So,
you hacked it and got it.
oh well, yeah, because I would never give my phone off to somebody else.
Right, exactly. All
All
right.
right. So,
So I will go speeding. Actually, no. But before I leave, Paw, do you want to go check out who in your little tribe is sending out the pings of madness? I'll go check. I'll go find who our other friends are.
Yeah,
That would
I
be-
can.
That will be fairly difficult because there's a lot of people who live in that compound. A lot. It's a densely populated area. Consider it's like an apartment building where about each person gets like more or less you have like a bunch of 2-room apartments that are occupied by 2 to 3 people or a whole family. So picking out individual folks might be difficult, although if she took some time to do that, she might be able to figure out who's who.
Oh, and looking at the map, is there enough granularity that I can at least narrow down? I mean, like,
Oh, you can figure out like which building in the complex they're in.
okay,
So there's a couple of them, and they're not in the same building. So, but they're in the various residencies.
let's see.
I think it sounds like everyone except Black Ice has some kind of travel ability.
I have a bus pass.
You might actually beat us there.
Man.
Oh my gosh. Another country heard from. I've got both cats. Yeah, no, I can. Yeah.
At least they're not bothering me.
Does anyone have a car that Black Ice can hitch a ride.
Can I fit 2 people on my hoverboard?
If you do a power stunt, increase the difficulty on using it, you can certainly have a second person with you. It's just a matter of making sure that they don't fall off, because the gyros on are designed for balance, one person's balance, not two. But it's definitely within the realm of possibility of things that you can accomplish.
Have you seen that like meme of like all of the witches flying and then like on brooms, and then there's one on a Roomba and she's just like
Yep.
tilting forward?
Okay, nuts. I'm going to go liberate a bicycle. Because obviously, if someone was as careless as to leave it locked up somewhere, obviously we have more need of it than they do.
So whereabouts are you planning on heading to? Getting over to the Bronx requires you, of course, to either skip over to Manhattan and then back over, so 2 bridge trips, or straight over the water, straight over Rikers to be precise. For some reason, Rikers belongs to the Bronx, even though it has a Queens zip code and it has a bridge to Queens. It does not have one to Bronx, but as part of the Bronx, nobody is ever
Okay.
what that is.
So
or
I'm
were you planning on heading down to Brooklyn, which is, you could just, haul down one of the main thoroughfares across Queens to Brooklyn?
Let's do that.
okay. So my travel powers are still a little long range. Takes me a while, so I actually still have a motorcycle, and I have a spare helmet. So
There you go.
yeah, I've got Nevada.
Okay, so you're heading off to the Bronx. I know.
No,
you're
Brooklyn.
heading off to Brooklyn. Hang on a second.
So just to make sure we're all on the same page here, we're investigating the are we going to check out the suits, or are we investigating the coded people?
The coded
The
people.
coded
You
people.
can't find the suits on
Yeah.
the thing.
Okay. But they
They
just left and we could track them.
You can follow them around if you want. Most of them
Like,
have gotten
ask
into
some of my
taxis.
crows to go keep an eye on them and let us know.
That would be wonderful if you could do that, because if they're not showing up anywhere, would like to know who or what sent them
True.
and why here.
Anything, GM?
Did
That
I
will
hear
be
any of
crow
that from
communication.
the?
That'll be crow communication, target 4. It's a somewhat complicated instruction.
Did I catch any of the of Ray's questions from the scanner?
Well, you're all sitting there together, so yes.
Well, yeah, no, but like while they were
Nope.
like while I'm listening to the scanner, did I hear any of like the reasons why these people were around and whatnot?
Oh, you figured that they were there to keep the general public out of the coffee shop when statesmen showed up incognito.
They're not-
Ah, so event security.
Yes.
Most cognito ever.
Out of cognito.
Well, based on that role, I'm going to cooperative.
Yes.
They are crows, after all.
Mm-hmm.
So a bunch of the crows kind of fly off and, making a whole racket, chatting with each other, as crows do. So the cat girl returns with her motorcycle, I assume. Now, so do you have an American motorcycle or a Japanese motorcycle?
She has an old Harley.
All right. So you clump onto the back of the motorcycle. Tink pulls out her hoverboard, fires it up, hops on, it, levels out and all that. Generator just zips up into the air, as he is wont to do, which interestingly, it's not a difficult thing to fly and not be noticed in New York, because first of all, there's a lot of people who fly in New York. And second, most people don't bother looking up all that much because you don't want to see what's going on above you anyway. And of course, Crash finishes his coffee, orders a cookie, has that. Oh, better go. And then rams down the street at blistering speed, all the way to the delightful, wonderful borough of Brooklyn. Let's see, where in Brooklyn are we going to go? Let's see.
Sorry,
So
I got interrupted. So we're all sticking together?
So not, I mean, we're all heading to the same place.
Okay.
I don't believe, with the exception of the fact that Paw and Black Ice are both on Paw's motorcycle, I do not believe we are going in a caravan or a convoy or anything like that.
You're all kind of convening into the same place.
Yeah. We chose a convenient Sunbucks location.
So where you're heading, it turns out, one of the things is in Commodore Barry Park. Interestingly noted because it is across the street from Wegmans. I'm like, wait, there's a Wegmans in Brooklyn? That's awesome.
Yep.
Right next to the Navy Yard.
There you go.
Yep.
So you make your way to this lovely park. Some nice greenery and a couple paths. And you kind of collect into the same neck of the woods and eventually, get back together once you figure out a fine place to park the motorcycle, which isn't too difficult. It's a motorcycle, which has its benefits. So you look at the thing, and indeed, one of the coded markers is in the middle of the park.
Does it point towards like a statue or any sign, or does it point like, okay, I guess, was it moving? Like, is there life to this marker?
It is not moving a whole lot, no.
Not a whole lot, but it is moving. So it's not just like a statue or a sign or something.
No, it seems
Okay.
to be a person.
Okay.
So the park has, of course, the big feature of it is a pair of baseball diamonds facing each other, as you often do, because it's about the size of a football field, and that's the standard of measurement for everything in the world, as the last newspaper article had. And otherwise, there's like a big basketball area and some trees, and and this seems to be near a fountain with some benches around it. So are y'all just gonna walk through, or like try to scope the area out, or what?
I am going to take the lead and go, as say, I'm actually going into stealth mode because this is one of the other things I do. And I'm going to see if I can scope out our target.
Okay. Let's see. How difficult will it be to sneak up? I will say that this is going to be a target 4.
Okay. So with my 2 deck shifts, that makes it a 2. There you go.
Woo.
Good thing.
Narrowly.
Yeah.
Fortunately, so it turns out like you try to do it too quickly, trip over a park bench, but fortunately nobody was looking at the time. You're like, "Doo-doo-doo, meant to do that."
Yep.
And keep walking on. So you go through and you see that there's this nice statue and with a fountain around it, and it's like one of the heroes from the devastation of the city, and it's rebuilding, just some guy like that. And there's a bunch of bits, and indeed you see a person sitting at a bench having a nice conversation with the person who is sitting on the next bench over, kind of kitty corner to him. And you, interestingly enough, you recognize both of them immediately.
Okay.
So the one is Will, your friend who had failed the test and whatnot.
Sure.
And the other one's Hex, the old man from the Hooligans bar.
Oh,
who you
really?
guys had
The
beaten
one
the
that I
tar out
stole
of
the
and gotten
cane
arrested.
from? Whose cane I'm currently holding.
Yep.
Yes,
Ha
that one. He has a different cane on him. It is similar theme, though. They have not noticed you yet.
Well, I'm gonna hang back and kind of lean against one of the trees and pray to God the crows shut the hell up for a change.
So
Are there any other tags in this area?
No,
Okay.
just the one.
Which of the two? Can I pinpoint which of the two is the tag?
Yes, Hex is the tag.
All right. When I flip it to the other screen and I see if Will is on the superhero
Will is not
list.
on there.
He's not on there either.
Interestingly, what this app does not, so far as you can tell, keep track of any agents or operatives, and it doesn't keep track of registered powers. It's keeping track of heroes, and apparently this guy.
I'm definitely putting that on the list of trying to find other levels, layers to the app.
So, and
There's
hanging
no way they're
out.
not keeping track of them.
They're hanging out, having a delightful conversation.
Okay. Can I hear anything about what the conversation is about?
So, is the rest of the crew circling in?
So I will sneak back and obviously report what I found. And then hey Tink, you got anything that can maybe let us listen in from a little further away? Let us all hear what they're on about.
All right, so I'm going to have my phone on me and I'm going to have a couple of earbuds that have like a microphone on them. So I guess I try to like boost the microphone on the earbuds and like to the same transmitter scanner thingy that I was previously using on the agents.
Okay. So let's see. At some point, I will memorize everybody's sheet.
I'm glad you do so that I don't have to.
All right. Try doing a let's see. Try doing a crafting machines roll, and this will be a target 3 because, well,
Then she
getting something to operate fairly well within its parameters is not all that difficult.
Yeah.
But then her in shift's just okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So keep in mind, Magda, for roles like that, whatever difficulty he gives you, you decrease it by 3 first because of your in shifts.
Oh.
Yeah, if it's an intelligence thing, you automatically get anything that's 3 or below.
Yeah, that
Plus
would
the training,
require
so
me
it's 4
to
or
have
below.
intelligence right now.
So how are you going to get the earbud within range of them?
I call on one of the crows and see if I can like tuck it onto him and have him just like waddle over.
Just hand it
Just-
to me.
Or hand it to me.
Well, I mean, like, if you're zooming by, the wind is going to blow at the microphone and it's going to mess it up. Because I powered up the potency of the microphone.
Give it to me and let's see if I can talk Knox into going
Dropping it
over
off
and
your body.
being like a crow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that'll be crow communication, target 3. It's a very direct thing. Here, hold
Okay.
this and go over there.
Difficulty 3, but I've got a 1 edge in intelligence, so that brings it down to a 2.
No,
Correct?
that just means that if you spend points to make it easier, it costs you 1 fewer point.
Okay, so target 3. Submit. What is asset again? I don't remember what that is.
You don't have any assets for that. That's just circumstantial
Gotcha.
things that will help.
Okay. There we go.
Oh,
Ooh.
excellent. So you give it to Knox. Knox is like, just looks like, kind of holds in his beak, turns his head a couple times, flies off, and hangs out in a tree with a branch hanging over the two of them as they're chatting.
There we go.
So you overhear the old man is doing most of the talking. It's like, well, the thing is that, you know, heroes are completely overrated. They think that they run everything and rule everything. They don't. They're in charge of nothing. They're, you know, servants bordering on slavery in some cases. It's not funny. You
He's
should
not
hang out
wrong.
with them. We've got a better setup than they do. I can guarantee you, and I can get you in. Trust me. I know all of the big players. I was something of an important person back in my day, and I've, you know, largely retired now. But I feel that we would be remiss if we didn't try to make use of your skills, which are quite impressive. Yes.
I ask Black Eyes for the cane, and I start to like see if there's anything interesting to the cane, like anything
look,
that
yeah.
would let me know who this old fogey is.
Yeah, because we know the eyes light up when you push a button on top of its head. So I hand over the cane because it's been in a thing in my coat.
Are you trying to figure out something mechanical about it, or are you trying to figure something out about the person who owned it?
Both?
Well, one's
Like-
kind of a web search, and the other one is pulling it apart and trying to see how the electronics function.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I want to see, like, like the first thing is going to be, are there any like characteristic sigils on it? But as I'm looking, but that's like just a cursory look. My main thing would be trying to see if it does anything. So
Okay,
yeah, like
so
more
you-
the mechanical side.
You
Yeah.
poke at it, and you eventually like twist the head off of it, and you can kind of look in it inside, and you see, you know, like a little battery pack that's in it, and you come upon the conclusion that, first of all, it's a very nice silver cane head with a mahogany shaft on it that's, you know, nicely carved and polished. It has, instead of like a little rubber thingy at the end, it's there's a forgot the term for it. The end is shot in metal and has a little rubber bit at the bottom so it doesn't slip out when you actually use it. And the electronics inside of it do precisely nothing but light up a pair of LEDs behind a pair of rubies. And they are honest to goodness rubies for the eyes. But it just shines a pair of LEDs so they bright up.
All right.
It doesn't seem to have any other major technical achievements with it. And so it's a little trigger bit built into the casting. So, you know, it's difficult to see where the trigger is. But if you're just holding it by, you know, by the end of it, so the snake head is pointing out, it'll light it up. Or if you're using it regularly, then it won't turn on.
And did I like see any symbols or anything as I was like? looking
No,
around it?
it's the head of it is very nicely cast with a, so it looks very much like a snake head, has like a scale pattern and everything on it. It's really cool. The carving on it carries on the snake motif in that it has carved snake scales along the length of it, and which has been lacquered over. So it looks really cool. It looks like a fairly pricey item, but once again, it's just a pair of LEDs and a battery pack with a trigger on it, so it just lights up and the eyes light up for you.
Huh. I guess I ask the other guys if this means anything to them.
It means that all the fun shit was coming from him, not from the doodad.
Huh?
Because as I recall, wasn't he channeling his abilities basically through the cane, or was that just the affect?
You're not sure.
Okay.
He would use the cane whenever he would, so he'd hold it up and the eyes would light up and something terrible would happen. But from what you can tell here, the cane wasn't doing anything. It was just him kind of showing off.
Well done, sir. Well done.
And I took it because it was a cool looking cane.
Indeed. And it goes very well with your whole milieu.
As you did.
Right.
Look at that.
Exactly.
The only thing that would make it better is if it had a crow head on it instead.
Yeah,
But
well.
you might be able
Snakes
to talk
are-
to him and ask him who built the first one.
Why? I got Tank.
And everything.
Oh, shoot. She just walked out. I have to wait just a second here. She'll be right back.
I'm having trouble remembering when. Didn't you say this guy was one of the hooligans?
From our
He
very
was in
first.
charge of the
Yeah,
hooligans.
he was the
Yeah.
guy running that show.
And he has a very charming British accent.
Yeah. I don't remember an old guy with a cane. Meh.
Now, that's because you beat the snot out of him
Yeah.
in fairly short order.
You were busy waving around the Molotov's bar stool.
Yeah.
That's right. And you didn't set him on
True.
fire or anything. Because there
True.
were still a couple hooligans there.
You didn't set him on fire, so no wonder you don't remember him. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
say, I was the one he sent, careening into the wall.
So,
Yeah.
time for a GM intrusion. Who would you like the other XP to go to?
I don't think she heard you.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure who you were directing that to. I was just sitting back down.
I am throwing up a GM intrusion for you. Who would you like the other XP to go to? Unless you want to burn some XP to avoid it.
I am actually going to give it to Tank.
So while the group of you are standing there listening in on the conversation, you're kind of like on the other side of the fountain, so they can't see you. You hear coming from behind you, "Oh, look, it's one of those Gene jokes again." Well, that's what's coming to this town, And obviously talking about you. They'll let anybody into this park, won't they? Well, we can get them out of here, though.
I turn around. Excuse me.
You are confronted by two young men. They're look to be in their early 20s. They are, what's the way to explain them? They're kind of dressed up as you would expect a couple of fascists to be dressed up. They're wearing straight-laced combat boots. They have, obnoxious 1940s style haircuts that were popular in certain parts of Europe. And they are both wearing a little red poppy. Not a real one. It's enameled with, so it's the red poppy shape. And they are looking right at you, talking shit.
Oh, good. Because in addition to all that other stuff that you said about the way they're dressed, Amazingly, suddenly their pants are around their ankles. I don't know how that happened.
Let's see. This is going to be really tricky for them to avoid, which is the fun part.
That just ain't happens.
Do they show up on the app?
No, they do not. They just look like a couple of miscreants. Okay, yeah, difficulty of that's not going to be high enough to challenge you at all. So they're standing there, and then they feel kind of a fell breeze, look down, like start tugging up their pants and start shouting all sorts of invectives about those freaks with powers, drawing attention from people all around.
Oh, little boys, we need to have a chat.
So I didn't leave their underwear up. So I literally just look at them, point, and start laughing. Oh,
a bunch of other people laugh as well.
No wonder you have to strike out against others.
Unfortunately, you notice one of the people who's laughing is Hex, like right behind you, like ha 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 ha. And you turn around and there's the man himself, pointing at the whole thing with his cane, as though this is the most delightful thing he's seen all day.
Glad we could be of amusement.
I quickly tuck the cane I stole from the guy into like a back section of my coat so that, kind of Highlander style where you never see the sword until you need it kind of thing. Because I don't need this guy to recognize the fact that I stole his cane.
Assuming he didn't see it when he walked over.
Right.
Yeah.
So you kind of like innocuously like slip it inside of your coat.
Doop 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 doop.
Oh, I'm gonna
trench coat of holding.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to walk right up to the two of them. You know, it was two guys.
Two of them. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't particularly like the way that you are speaking to us about us, and I think it is time for you to leave.
Yeah, what are you going to do about it? You're going to make us?
Yeah, it's time to pull out the hold on, wrong text sheet. There we go. It's now time to try out the newly renamed Power Stunt 1-2 Heave Ho. Probably be allergies.
If only we could get the birds to poop on command.
Right.
I know, right? Okay. Let's see if I can make this work. What is going on? Oh, there we go. Okay. So I am going to use goad on the asshole on the left. What is my target for that?
Target's a 2. He's kind of worked up.
Okay, trying to figure out how to actually do that.
Oh, because that is under your special abilities, and you don't have
a
skill associated with it. So that is a here. So that will be an intellect roll, target 2. And since you have no edge, it will cost you the 1 point to use it.
Okay. Now that I've successfully go to the one guy into, excuse me, into closing the distance, I am now going to use. Sorry, I'm going to use bash on him.
Okay, so he tries to swing at you, as is expected. So roll that to get the counterpunch. And his defense, he will be a target 3.
3. There we go. Okay, and for the final part of this, is as a part of hitting him is I grab him and I end up and I'm going to throw him at
the other one.
At the other one, yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Take one motherfucker and throw it up again. Throw again. Damn it, another motherfucker.
Yep.
Okay, target again is 3.
Okay. So roll back to bash again or unarmed.
This one's unarmed because you're.
What was that?
This one is unarmed.
Okay. And he said 3 again?
Yep.
Oh.
Boo.
Okay, so you get the one to swing at you, and you punch him long before that fist even comes anywhere near your face because, well, you're way faster than he is. Clock him but good. You don't manage to be able to grab him because he completely falls into the ground in a heap. You just like catch him under the jaw and he collapses. The other one is indignant. It's like, see what the problem with these people are? They're inherently violent. We have to get rid of them. And while he's backing away and trying to drag his friend with him.
Are we just asshole magnets today?
Yep.
Saying.
No, it's not just today.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all just getting on my nerves today. Got it.
Yeah. So I tried to like airdrop or text them some malware that because I'm like inevitably they're gonna have their cell phones in one of their pockets. I don't know if these would be the kind of people that would keep them in their pants or in their jacket.
Well, if they're keeping it in their pants, they're SOL.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I airdrop them some malware that causes their batteries to burn up.
Excellent.
Wait, burn up
Sometimes
or burn
it's
out?
a challenge to write software so bad it does what you want it to, but indeed, you are up to that challenge.
There goes Tink setting things on fire again.
Shocking. Shocking.
No, burning. Shocking.
No,
isn't even-
burning.
Yeah.
So
Damn it.
as they finally get their pants back into position and scurry off, one of them shouts something that sounds vaguely familiar to you guys. As he's talking to the others, like, see, and this is why In Memoriam is around, because of people like this. And then they scurry off. And meanwhile, now both Hex and Will are standing behind you guys, kind of having watched the entire thing. You certainly do have some very interesting friends. And Will's like, I mean, those guys look like assholes, right? Oh, of course they are. You thought the hooligans were bad.
You seemed to have a pretty positive opinion of them, didn't you?
I work with them. They're very useful. I mean, consider, I'm not going to do all the dirty work, am I? Of course not.
If you consider them useful, your standards are way too.
Depends what you need them for. Even those guys, I imagine, serve their masters a good use. Kind of surprised that In Memoriam is recruiting, having gotten their asses handed to them last week, or at least a few of them. I'm not sure how many there are.
That's the problem with people like them.
So what brings you down to the park? Are you interested in a change of career?
Just here to feed the birds
Yep.
as I hold
Downloaded
out
a
a
new-
peanut.
Bird
Downloaded a
exchanges.
new
The bird exchanges the earbud for a peanut.
I quietly pocket it to give to Tink back to Tink later.
The problem is it never got turned off, so the rustling of you putting it in your pocket has Tink like, ah!
Oh, I've got mute.
Of course you do.
Yep.
Bluetooth off. There you go.
I've got more
Change it.
than enough like band can't cutting software.
Yep.
So Hex looks back at Will and says, "Well, think about what we talked about, and you know how to get a hold of me. But I really have to get going. It takes me a while to get around these days." And he walks off, passes by Nevada, and says, "That's a very nice cane you've got there." Winks, and then keeps walking across the park.
I just grin, shrug, go back to feeding the bird.
He gets to the street, starts jaywalking. A car starts barreling towards him. He holds his cane out towards it, and one of the wheels flies off of the car. It veers off to one side. The wheel goes the other, rolls past you guys and into the fountain, and he just moseys across the street as though nothing happened.
Okay, then.
Noted.
Will's like, "Well, that's certainly a character, isn't he?"
I'm
So you guys
develop-
fought him?
I'm developing a keen dislike for that man.
Yeah.
I'm developing curiosity.
So what brings you guys down to Brooklyn?
Downloaded a new version of Pokemon Go.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I'm trying to, I recently met this girl who's living in a sewer pipe. Long story about that, but I'm trying to persuade her to move elsewhere. I should consider getting her the new version of Pokemon Go. She might like that.
Yeah. I think we were trying to track down a hex bug.
He's an interesting fellow. It turns out that he has a fabulous lawyer. It turns out like they had nothing on him following the incident or neck of the woods. So yeah, they just kind of let him go.
Of course.
Next time I'll have to be more careful to plant some evidence. So if you don't mind my asking,
Mm-hmm.
given our admittedly limited interaction with him, nothing good comes of it. And you seem like such a nice boy. Wouldn't want to see you get into any trouble.
Oh, I wouldn't worry too much about me. I've been doing a lot of soul searching lately and spending a good chunk of time over at the Atom compound. I found out this cool thing you'll appreciate.
Wait,
I can pass through things.
are you talking about?
He's talking to you.
Okay.
So I can pass through things. Like one of their people, this green woman was like beating the tar out of me as I'm trying to learn how to fight. And then eventually like she'd swing at me and it just went right through me. That was really cool. I did not know Nebula could do that. That's pretty awesome. I granted it's still no good in a fight because I couldn't hit her back. It just passed through her. But learning new stuff about myself every day.
So do I have any idea at all who the might have actually been sparring with, or
That would likely have been your old friend Zola the Gorgon. She is very much into fighting and punching people out and ripping them apart with her claws, and spends a lot of her time training. She basically, her day is largely split into training to beat people up and kind of a augmented version of parkour that she does because, well, she's an atom, so she's extraordinarily strong and fast, and so she likes to take advantage of that for getting around.
oh, I wouldn't know anybody like that.
Not
And I
even
kind of
slightly.
looked down at myself and back up.
The two of you are not extraordinarily different, aside from she's much more reptilian, you're much more cat-like, but otherwise
So we probably have had our fair share of
you fought each other a lot growing up.
yeah.
That for instance is why you know how to punch somebody for 7 points of damage. Well, I have to get going, so once again, as I'm trying to talk somebody out of living in a fucking sewer pipe. What the hell is with this city? I mean, seriously. Okay, it's not a sewer pipe, it's a sewer exchange. There's a little more room in there, but it's just
Rent's ridiculous, man. I can't blame him.
She's like 8. Like, what the hell's a kid living in the sewers for?
Well, okay, and an 8-year-old can't really afford rent, so
fair enough. That's like I have an extra room on my houseboat, so I'm gonna see if she wants to live there and raid my fridge for snacks, whatever the hell kids do. But somewhere where it's not infested with vermin, that sort of stuff. And people can't just wander in all from anywhere, like I did accidentally. But that's another story entirely. I'll talk to you about that later. But I got to get going, so catch you guys later. And he's gone. In his usual, weird cloud of dispersing motes of blackness and weird tendrils and stuff like that. And of course, when he does that, Gene, of course, you feel that weird tug in your head whenever he uses his power around you.
Okay, even for us, this is becoming a really surreal day.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
The guy walks into the park, picks up the tire, and starts rolling it back towards the street, towards his car. I put the lug nuts on it. I mean, it's been driving for hundreds of... What the hell, man?
So did anybody understand what that old man was talking about?
No.
Shouldn't I know?
Rita hazard a guess. You're thinking he was trying to talk your friend into a life of crime, a life of super crime at that, because that's what he does for a living. He's a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Not just a criminal, he's a villain.
I was about to say, there's a big difference.
It seems like maybe he was trying to recruit him.
Oh, most definitely.
Where's his blip going?
Hex's
blip. Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, he's probably like a block and a half away. Just kind of moseying along the street. You hear another car accident happen.
All right, I want to try to tail him.
You guys can totally do that. He's walking, and he's a very old man.
And I'm sneaky.
Well into his 70s. So is the whole group of you going to try to tail him, or just the one?
I'd say just let Crash do his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are the rest of you heading off to?
Well, so I mean, now we know that the app is showing us where all the supervillains are, so, or villains of some degree.
Or at least that one was a villain.
True.
Are the numbers color coded in any way, or are they all the same?
Interestingly, they are all black icons, so it's like a black circle where they are with a little black flag off the side of it with white numbering, and it's just a letter and a series of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So his would be like T2804 or something like that.
Hmm.
Okay, and there are. I am apparently having difficulty with words today, and there were some of these within the actual Adams
Yes.
compound. Yeah, I would really like to go and pay the extended family a visit and introduce you guys to my parents. It will make them happy. Trust me, you'll get fed. It's all good.
I'm
right,
always
so-
up for free food.
So you guys are gonna head north, go across the river, and into the Bronx to go visit the Adams.
I'm kind of stuck
Sure.
wherever my chauffeur takes me, so
Until we can get like the crows to like all grab you, kind of like that house and up. And it's like toot, 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 toot.
I mean,
I've seen weirder manifestations for flight powers, just saying.
yeah, I don't see that as something she's gonna try and make happen.
No, but it just may be made happen depending on the
Watch you.
circumstance.
Oh, yeah,
Fetch! I know where to get the fancy peanuts.
I just go pause bodega. You know?
okay. So give me a second to hit the bathroom, and we will continue with Crash tailing the illustrious Hex. So I'll be right back.
Good, I need more coffee.
And we'll be right back.
Thank you.
I really hope that's public domain, or else I'm going to need a copyright strike on my Twitch account.
Oh, I messed it up big time. There's no way nobody's recognizing any of that.
You just gotta get him to play his own music so
There we
that
Okay. So Crash,
Yes, sir.
you zip down the couple streets. It's not difficult to find the man because you see a wreck at an intersection, and the light is green in both directions.
I follow the wake of devastation.
And he's just wandering diagonally across the street, past the wreck, steps over some burning piece of something. While somebody's like screaming, "Oh my God!" and bleeding out of their head. Just bad things are following wherever this person goes. And interestingly, there are no police around. There are no heroes trying to intervene with whatever he's doing as he is wandering with his minor swath of destruction on a fine, early evening in the springtime. So he continues walking. So let's see. We should probably have you roll a stealth roll. And he's a little tricky, so that is going to be a target 5.
Okay.
Actually, he's more than a little tricky, but
Okay. Let's see. So my 2 shifts, that brings it down to a 3. I'll make it a 2, and yeah, I'll throw an effort at this. There we go.
okay. So you managed to scoot by him scoot near him without being seen. You're trailing him from a good distance. Once again, he's not that difficult to spot. He's not a particularly large man, but he is also carrying a very shiny cane with him. This one, instead of having a wooden shaft, the entire thing seems to be made out of silver. As though he's just daring somebody to try to steal it from him.
Right.
And you really kind of wonder what would happen to that person, because he's kind of scary. So he is making his way. Get over here. So he's making his way north up towards the Brooklyn Naval Yard. And then once he gets to Flushing Street, he turns and he's heading further into what is this? Well, heading towards basically downtown Brooklyn.
Okay.
So which these days is a very nice neighborhood because, well, a lot of the wealthy people who used to be able to afford to live in Manhattan can't live there anymore. So now they're living in Brooklyn. And those guys are kind of the ones who used to live in Brooklyn are kind of pushing their way into Queens because, you know, there's a lot of money in Excelsior these days.
Yep.
So he keeps walking down the street, paying very little attention to you. And as you're going, you unfortunately have an intrusion happen. So who do you want to have the other experience?
Let's see. We will give it to Black Ice. So you get next pick.
Ooh.
So as you're following him, you're paying attention to what he's doing, making sure nobody's following you and all of that stuff. And then you smell this weird, vaguely rotting smell. You can't quite pin what it is unless you study like biology or something like that.
Does it smell like chloroform to me?
No, it doesn't.
Excellent.
Hey, does this smell like chloroform?
Exactly.
So you smell like it's this weird, said it's not quite rot, but something in that neighborhood of things.
Okay.
And then as once you take notice this, you stop for a second, and then a person near you speaks up with a kind of a weird sounding voice in that you can hear like this bad wheeze when they inhale. And says and shouts out across the square, "Hey, Hex, it seems that you have a friend with you." And Hex stops, turns around, looks at you, looks at the other person, and starts wandering back across the street, ignoring the traffic that's, trying to kill him. Because, well, once again, he doesn't have any time for dealing with, traffic, streets, pedestrians, and ordinary humans. And starts walking towards you. The person who spoke up is kind of, let's see. I should have you roll for this just because. Get you again. Anything that would help with this. You don't have any sense deception type of thing. So
nope.
Roll up perception. Have a target 4 for this one to see if you notice any of the cool stuff.
Okay. Oh,
Nice.
bring it on, baby.
So this other person, you
Shit, it's
notice
just a perception roll.
2 very interesting things about him. One, his skin color's kind of wrong. Naturally has like a somewhat dark complexion, but that dark complexion, instead of being kind of like a brownish color, is more of a grayish color right now.
Okay.
And across part of his face, kind of going from the corner of his mouth up into his eye, is a pale patch of skin, except as you kind of look at him, you notice that it extends into the eye, and it's kind of like filaments growing across it.
You might want to have that looked at.
Oh, I'd prefer nobody look at it.
Then invest in a hoodie.
You following somebody, I see?
No, I'm in the market for new digs. I figured I'd come check out what was available around here.
I'd be careful of this neighborhood. dangerous people here.
Yes, I do think the whole atmosphere is a bit off.
So Hex catches back up, looks at the other individual, looks at you, and says, "Huh, this is interesting. I didn't realize that you were out and about right now." And the other one looks at him. "Oh, I'm doing a little research today. I have some work to do." "Oh, I saw a couple of your boys in the park. They didn't fare too well amongst this gentleman's friends." That happens, unfortunately. So you can only get so much good help these days, right? But I have a lot of work to get to, and so I need a lot of people right now. And X looks at him and then looks at you and says, "I don't think this one's going to be good for your purposes, unfortunately. He is talented, though. Very fast. Very, very fast. I remember being fast once. That was a while ago."
I for once, Crash is actually just listening because there's a lot to this conversation to unpack.
Yep. "Well, are you off to the club?" And Hex says, "Well, yes, indeed I am. I have a few people to meet about a contact that we have. Yeah, the usual." "Excellent. I will." "Oh, wait, no, I'm already there. Never mind. So I'll talk to you when you get there." Then the other one looks at you, extends out a hand, and from his wrist, there's like this weird, like kind of like hair thing kind of growing out, like a good 6 inches, zigzaggy and kind of bulbous at the end of it, and holds out his hand to shake with you.
I lean back and cross my arms.
"Ah, not a person for niceties. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. I have some things to be about." And then this guy turns and walks into a nearby alley, which presumably he came out of. And Hex watches him go. Says, "Well, as I mentioned, I have a place to be, people to talk to. So have yourself a good day." And then turns and goes across the street, right once again through the car wreck that he caused, heading towards downtown Brooklyn. So back with the rest of the crew.
That man is hell on property.
So are you going to head back to catch up with the others?
Yeah, I'm going to wait until I get a little bit further away from this particular turf before I turn on the speed. Just in case.
Okay. So let's see. Using speed to get from where you are, you will want to... Okay, yeah. So basically, you're just going to kind of retrace your steps, then catch the bridge over to the one island, Randall Island, and then back over to Brooklyn. You know exactly where they're going, of course, which is going to help. So once eventually you step out, then you go with the flow of traffic and just spin by. And actually, you're traveling much faster than most people because you don't necessarily need to stop for red lights unless there's cross traffic you have to deal with.
Well, and even that I can just dodge around it. So
yes. Or jump over it.
That's true, yeah.
If you have enough strength to jump like 6 feet into the air, there's no car that's you can't get over. Okay, so the rest of you head off to the illustrious and wonderful neighborhood, formerly known as Hunts Point. Hunts Point used to be an industrial area famous for its red light district, which it entirely was. Nowadays, during the incident, of course, it was wiped the clean out. It was just nothing left. So what happened, of course, is that the Adams moved in. They took over the majority of the neighborhood, sealed off a good about square mile radius by building a bunch of buildings around with this park area in the middle with a couple extra buildings, and have sealed themselves off from the rest of the world. Nobody is allowed inside without one of them with them or permission. It is a very, safe area for folks. The surrounding neighborhood is also very nice, curiously enough, because there are atoms absolutely everywhere. They're going getting coffee, doing day jobs and other things. And criminal activity is almost unheard of because nobody wants to mug somebody near the atom compound, because there's a good chance there'll be an atom or there'll be an atom nearby. And they all have some weird ability. Sometimes it might just be that they're made out of stone. It's very hard to hurt them. Some of them can shoot plasma out of their eyeballs, all sorts of crazy stuff. So nobody picks pockets out there. It's a bad idea. So it's a very quiet, nice neighborhood. The surrounding areas can go to hell. They only care so far outside of their own gates. But where they tend to poke around, that's, where everything is nice. So everything along the East River and the Bronx River is more or less their territory, and they take care of it. So the crew of you make your way over the bridge and across the river over to where the compound is. And interestingly enough, there's plenty of parking for the motorcycle because, once again, nobody parks in the block around the entire compound. That's bad. And you could park inside. They do have their own parking structure. But on the other hand, it's kind of a pain to go up and down and all that sort of stuff. So you just park on the street corner, wait for your friends to catch up with you. And as you're heading towards one of the entrances, catches up with you, of course, your good friend, Crash.
Nice try.
Comes to a blur behind you, and this shockwave kind of pushes in front of him and blows dust and other things around. A cat.
And that man has some very interesting friends.
Really?
Yes. I happened upon one of their collectives. Where I met a very, very bizarre gentleman. Almost defies description. Thankfully, they seemed non-aggressive, and our good friend chatted for a moment and then went on his way. So, nothing much of use gleaned, except perhaps a location to check back on. How go things here?
Have all just arrived.
Good, I didn't miss anything.
Nope.
So as you're heading in, you see one of those things that unnerves the crap out of a bunch of you, and Paw takes absolutely no notice of, which is periodically around the place, there are some atoms standing guard. By the doorway that you go in, it's flanked on either side by a pair of folks who, one of which, she looks really fascinating. She's very insectile, kind of like a very large, like praying mantis. So there's like, plates of armor on her skin that come out to points and all sorts of stuff. And this pair of antennae that spread out from her head, kind of like those on a Luna moth. You know this person very, very well because her name is Luna, and she is a short-range teleporter. So she can teleport herself very, very quickly. Think along the lines of a certain X-Man who bamfs around places. Doesn't have particularly good distance, but once again is very fast with it, uses it to devastating effect in combat by largely pitching people up into the air and letting the gravity take care of them for her. Occasionally also will do things like throw somebody into traffic or into the ground. you don't quite know what happens to the dirt where the person goes, but you know, you've heard of a couple occasions where powered people had to dig themselves out of the ground after being put in there just to get a nice lesson from her. The other one, you don't know as well, but you have, of course, seen them, and they have an ability to project laser beams out of their fingertips. And once again, a fairly hazardous person to be hanging out. I'm just, having a nice cup of coffee, watching people go by, making sure nobody walks in, except for you guys. So as you go up, they greet you, and like, oh, are they with you?
Yes. I'm taking them to meet mom and dad.
Oh. Excellent. Okay. Certainly not a problem. All of you have a wonderful time. Behave yourselves. That is very important. If you're interested in the rules, when you walk in, they are posted up next to the door. We keep them updated. Follow the rules. Trust me, they get updated all the time, though. We're a community. And the one opens the door for you. You go inside, and the wall that makes up the outer ring of the compound is nothing more than just a pile of fairly tall townhouses all stuck next to each other with very few doors facing the outside. And none of them have windows anything short of the third floor. So it forms like a physical barricade in which apparently people live. The next ring inside has much taller buildings. There's a couple skyscrapers sitting in there. And past that, of course, so you walk into the ring of townhouses. The one door is basically just into one of the townhouses. It goes into a big hallway. There's a lot of people milling around. And interestingly enough, indeed, on the wall is a poster that has been written in glitter glue and marker of the current rules for the compound. The top things are like, do not use your powers on somebody who is unwilling. Do not steal anybody's stuff. Do not play the radio too loudly after 10 p.m. if you are in zones A through C. If you're in zones D or E, you may play the radio loudly past up to 2 a.m. And the things start getting more and more picky and kind of passive aggressive as they go. Like label and date all food put into a refrigerator.
Danny.
You know that there's a name behind that rule.
There always is.
No fish in the microwave.
Oh God, and do not burn popcorn. Oh, I intercepted the kitty cat. He was trying to jump up onto the receiver, but did you say hello?
So, Pa, are you going to give them a bit of a tour on the way through?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to point out some of the more interesting people, both personalities, kind of a certain, with a kind of a certain coolness factor of like, this is a good dude to sit down and watch the game and have a beer with. If this one offers you food, eat it. It's always amazing. These, this person's got some really neat powers, and they're kind of run of the mill, but they figured out how to use them in a really effective way. Oh, it's a Grimmy. Hi, Grimmy.
Oh, Grim.
Pointing out kind of the major landmarks, so they orient themselves.
So as you guys cross through the outer wall to the inner part, which they affectionately refer to as the courtyard, even though it's much bigger than a courtyard, about a quarter of the courtyard is taken up by what looks like the training area. You can guess it's the training area because there's a whole bunch of people using powers and a bunch of other people trying to beat the shit out of each other.
Consensually.
The people beating each other up, you have things like a gigantic rock man fighting a lava guy, and you're astonished people are standing anywhere within 100 yards of these two because things are flying all over the place. You're certain somebody's going to get killed, but people are saying, "Oh yeah, excellent." That entire corner looks very hazardous and very broken. you imagine they have to spend a lot of time repairing it.
Yeah.
So as you're walking through, one of your cousins brings up, "Oh, did you hear about the contract we got?
No.
They are building a medical center on the site of the former Sawyer Tower, which of course not so much in use. So they hired us to build the full medical center. It's for that. Basically, they're building something for that new guy that the Liberty League's been working with. What's his name? Shift, right? The guy who's trying to cure cancer right now. So they're building a research center for him. And they hired us, which is awesome. That's a lot of money, and it should only take us, so like really once we've torn everything out and all that, it's probably going to be a couple weeks for the actual construction. Then just a lot of wiring and plumbing, really. That's what's going to take most of the time. But of course, a few of us can build a building in a couple afternoons. That's fine. So that's going to be really awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, apparently it turns out the guy's a scion, so. But you know what? Money's money, and we're going to take it.
Well, who knows? Maybe he'll actually use his powers for good and
what I hear,
and actually help some people.
That that teleport guy talked about them a lot, and says they're a stand-up person. So apparently doesn't hang out with the rest of his kind all that much or whatnot. Who knows? But as long as they don't move into Cyville, everything will be fine. Trust me. So that place is just poisonous. I don't know what they tell people there about everyone else, and especially us. But how it is. Anyway, we gotta get to the drawing board and make sure we figure out where all the we're gonna pour all of the hallways and stuff. So like people just do not understand how nice it is to build a building with lava, because you just put it in, it's stone, it is never moving until we remove it. It's handy. They should make a lot more of the skyscrapers with us, because those things are just fragile. I don't know how they stand up. We know how to build things. And he wanders off.
All right, family chit chat. Okay.
So you head over towards your building, and in the courtyard, of course, they have places for people to get together, because room interior on the interior is a little bit of a premium sometimes, because any atom who is in the city can live there if they want, and a lot of them do. The exchange, of course, is that a good chunk of the money that you get for your powers, of course, go into paying for the compound. So, but then, of course, you get fed, all of your utilities are taken care of, and everything is very nice. So in the outside area, since I presume you called ahead.
Yes, I did.
Your parents are waiting for you.
Okay, so before we get there, during our wandering through, since Tink has the map on her phone, and ask her to discreetly to point out which buildings so that I can go and visit with various friends and stuff.
Okay, Tink, one thing you've noticed is that Hex's code, since you had been centered on him earlier, isn't there anymore.
Huh.
He's not showing up in the city.
Interesting.
But you're kind of scrolling around, looking around. Okay, so there's one in that building over there. And there's one in the tall building over there, which is the administrative building. So
of course,
somebody's working over there, you guess? Yeah, something like that. So you get to where Paw's parents are. Paw's parents are absolutely delighted to see the rest of you. There are hugs everywhere. And unfortunately, even Crash is unable to avoid that.
Crash looks very uncomfortable through the whole process.
Yeah, you're kind of like when a little girl hugs a kitten and a cat, and the cat's it's kind of like that.
Dude, don't fight it. It'll be over in just a moment.
Cheek pinching galore.
So, what do your parents look like?
Honestly, I had not thought about that, and I cannot.
Okay, we'll have to cover them later.
Yeah.
So you're hanging out having a chat with the parents. Tink is still going through trying to track where each of these people are and try to pinpoint, which sections of buildings and stuff. And and you're having a delightful chat. Like her parents are asking about all sorts of things, dealing with the fact that you are all now a group of heroes, and they want to know what your group's called, and how often you go on patrol, and who have you fought, and oh those mimes, that was awesome, especially when you caught on fire, that was hilarious.
That does kind of seem like our MO.
Yeah.
All right. And it's perfectly time for yet another GM intrusion. This time, heading towards Gen X. So who else would you like to have the XP point from that?
You're muted, Greg.
Sorry. I sneezed earlier. Didn't want y'all to hear that. Let's give it to Crash.
Can't give it to me. That's the downside to being dishonorable.
Ah, okay.
Someday he might be a good guy.
Okay.
Someday, but not yet.
Not
Mhm.
today, my friends. Not today.
Then we will give it to Paw.
Okay. This may work in your favor. While you were standing there talking, Tink, you notice something interesting. One of the markers moves very quickly. And this is because an individual opens a window in one of the buildings and leaps down right behind Generator. Boom. Grabs him by the scruff of his neck and picks him up off the ground. Says, "You." And we'll talk to you all next time.
Well, shit.
All right, and that was issue 5 of The Powers That Be. This one was called Recruiters Wanted. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We're going to stick around and do a quick after show, which will go up on YouTube along with this in the next couple of days. We are, I believe, finally back on a regular schedule after the craziness that is the winter holidays here in the United States. So we should see you 2 weeks from tonight, which is, if I can pick, that'll be February 13th, again at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Until then, for Patrick, ECAT, Magda, Julie, and Ray, I am Trevor the Vitruvian Meeple saying, be one of the beautiful meeple. Good night, everyone.